When he's done, I'll come talk to you. So neither of us yet even want to talk to you.
Remember, he can't talk. He's lost his voice.
No, I'm not in the business that they're in. So, but now that I know you have a need, I'm sure I'm going to find someone else and try to get in the game as well and play a role.
Warning, customer annihilated.
But I think all of us in the panel we sell things, right, in the space. So, and I have to say, we have to feel, you know, the customer pain. To frame the discussion around exchanges and open interoperability, not from a protocol perspective, but I want to connect to that company and that person over there. I think if you go through time, communication technology, we went through voice, which is a reference, and it keeps coming up. I can make a phone call. That was a highly regulated environment in which who got paid at every step of the way.
That could dictate all of the standards.
Yeah, it was monopoly, it was a series of monopolies, all connected together through high levels of regulation, political discussions. Then we moved into internet communications, where there's a big battle, obviously you guys are all aware of, between the open internet and closed networks. And video is coming to its prime here at a time in which the regulatory environment is very fluid and very hard to get things together. So you see all these verticalized integrated models, be it Skype, or I have an iPhone, I can do FaceTime, but I can only do FaceTime if I talk to another Apple device, et cetera, and of course you have all the various exchanges. So unfortunately, I don't want to sound negative, but I don't think there's a path for exactly what you're asking.
What if I'm a CEO?
I just want different service providers to figure out how to get from A to B, and I don't have to talk to anyone. It's tough right now.
What if I'm a CEO or a CIO, and I don't want to deal with this anymore? Whatever video conferencing or telepresence systems I own, I want to throw them out. I want to get rid of the staff that's managing it, and I want to go to a cloud company, and I want to say, do it all for me. I want everything to work. Your ticket, one check per month. Are there people that are offering telepresence in the cloud or telepresence as a service?
Well, Glowpoint are trying to get there. York have been established in that market for some years.
Change seats, guys. Switch. You gotta get in the middle.
I will respond.
Yeah, you don't respond to that. It doesn't deserve it.
It doesn't matter the name of the company. The question is, can somebody go with a monthly check and not invest in any of the infrastructure or technology?
This is why it's so fascinating. Having been in the vendor background, you're into technology. You like the feeds and speeds, and you're doing a great. Then you're competing with 3 or 4 others. I mean, today, when you start thinking about the SVC technologies or people like BlueJeans or whatever, Virgin, it's getting complicated for anybody who's trying to adopt video conferencing in their environment and meet the needs of their business partners, right? And that is an area in which you need a trusted partner. You need somebody to be able to talk to and help sort out the wheat from the chaff, and really make sure that you know what's going to work, what's not going to work, based on experience with other customers. And that's what people like York and, in fairness, Glowpoint do. And I think that's really where the action is, frankly, going forward.
So if I may ask, what do I need to have as a customer in order to use your services?
Money.
That's all. But from an equipment perspective, so what devices do I have to have?
Actually, the answer really is you have a choice of having none, right? I mean, one of the things that, and let me speak at this from a customer perspective rather than, I don't want to dive into a sales pitch. I know people don't want to do that, but what we hear most often from customers is actually two cases. One is they're looking to adopt video quickly, right? They don't have the expertise in-house. They haven't installed any infrastructure on their network. They have an IT staff that they don't want to add to, right? And so that they come to us and say, look, I mean, can you provide this from your cloud, right? We've got some endpoints, we're going to buy some endpoints. And can you do that? And the answer is absolutely yes. So the answer is all you really have to have is some video endpoints, right? And a way to get into your network. The other case that we run into a lot is a customer, an enterprise customer that has rolled out video. They have some infrastructure, some immersive telepresence and systems installed, right? But they're looking for a way to scale that cost effectively. And in a lot of cases, again, this being a fairly young industry, they don't really feel like they have the expertise to be able to do that well. So what we do at Glowpoint is we can manage their existing infrastructure and rooms from our cloud, as well as provide some of those services fully hosted. So there's kind of a hybrid model.
And
so that's
agnostic, right? The point is you're agnostic and you look for best of breed effectively to get the best provision the best solution for the customer needs.
I'm selling for me now. Absolutely. Technology agnostic. That's why he and I were talking about this. I mean, again, back to this question about what is telepresence. I don't care.
We have another end user question here. Let's change the subject and keep moving.
Anyway.
I'll start off with a statement. Sorry. My name is Michael Stanley Jones. I work for Vodafone out of the UK. So I'll start off with a statement and say, to be honest, who cares about exchanges? Exchanges, for me, are useful if you really want to go down to just number dialing. But if you're wanting to connect to one person, I do this all day long. So no, I have no problem with that. You want to make a direct connection, but for me, it's not really about making those point-to-point connectivities. I guess my question is more around, you know, we've had Cisco stand up here and say, we're open standards. Polycom, all over the press, we're open standards. And everyone talks about open standards, and yet, to be honest, it's only the base layer things like H.264 which are a standard, right? Polycom have their high profile, Cisco have their brand, we have video creating SVC. Yes, there's a number of people jumping on the SVC bandwagon, but not everybody is. So I think, you know, for me, the question is where are we really going? Who is really in control of what is open standards? And when are all of these companies going to come together and speak in the same voice?
Well, I'll take a shot at that. Is this on? No?
It should be.
Yeah, try this one.
It's okay.
Okay. So, I mean, to me, I'm listening to this discussion, and it's interesting that it's probably worthwhile to look at a little history. The reality is the video conferencing companies and the industry really did a lot of work around interoperability and standards-based, and we're doing a pretty good job of that. Tamberg worked with Polycom, all in a single codec, point-to-point and multi-point over H.323 environment. But the problem that the industry didn't solve was directory services. There was no common directory that people could make a call, and firewall traversal. So it was basically an intra-company experience for video conferencing, and that was a problem. Then along came Cisco, and Cisco did a tremendous job of promoting this concept of telepresence and a tremendous amount of advertising on it, but quite frankly went backwards because it was a closed, it was proprietary signaling and protocol based. And because they were so successful, that caused problems in terms of people saying, well, now I got to make this thing work. And that caused the rise of service providers saying, I'll provide interconnect services with that. Well, my point to it is that we had a very good standards-based organization. We needed to solve some fundamental problems and still do. But the core standards underneath this were very good in terms of interoperability. Now we've got telepresence coming along, and even standards-based telepresence that are running standards-based codecs still don't interoperate because how the three screens switch with each other. And now you bring along Skype, and you bring along Link with its own Microsoft proprietary thing, and now it's starting to get cloudy again. So the good news is, as we've seen, video is going to be pervasive everywhere. We just now, as an industry, have to figure out how does all that stuff work. What will happen, in my opinion, is we'll gateway between these different islands for some period of time until we really figure out how we're going to, who's going to win the directory standardization war of it, and how we're going to really traverse all these network boundaries appropriately to let all these things work together.
Well, let me ask a question to the folks in the audience. If you would humor me for a minute, raise your hands. Who uses Cisco video communications in their business? Who uses Polycom? Who uses some other brand? Okay. Now, again, show of hands. Who has a Skype account? Most everyone. If anybody's wondering why Microsoft paid $8.9 billion for Skype, it wasn't for the technology. It was for being in everybody's house. What they do with it probably is going to have little to do with video. Any thoughts on the next acquisition? Or actually, even a better question, what's next in this industry? We've been talking about three-screen immersive interconnectivity, Skype, the rest of the stuff. Nobody's really told us what the changes are going to be in the next 5 years. It can't still be the announcement of somebody's three-screen system. There's going to have to be 3D or holography or big walls. What's coming next? Is it connectivity to the home? Is it some other new technology?
You know, customers I talk to, and feel free to contradict me, but the technology is good enough today. I mean, I don't know how many applications there are for 3D. The problem we have in environments like this is it's all about, not all about, but there's a lot of engineering conversation taking place. and engineers invent things, and they continue to push the envelope. But the reality is that HD and the applications that we can drive on that kind of technology today are pretty good. Again, Rick is sitting here with his iPad 2, presumably. You could probably do a video call of me back to Cisco, which isn't sure what he's doing. He could do it on, I know Bob could do it on his iPhone. A lot of that technology is there now. It's a question of the application and how it's delivered to the users, back to the CEO or to the tech or to whomever. Some of our customers want iPads and they want to be able to take the video component of that and walk it around their environment, their manufacturing environment, to see things in India, right? And that's a powerful application. So I think it's applications, and it's what we've been talking about, the ability to deliver those effectively and efficiently into the marketplace so people actually use it without having to worry about all the things we're talking about here.
Yeah, I think on that, I haven't said much yet, but I think when you come down to that conversation where we're going, I think there's been a ton of innovation in the space. There's a lot of great tools out there, a lot of great applications. When it comes down to like a directory that everybody can use, it comes down to these types of pieces. I think over the next 3 years, I think some of the greatest innovations that we're going to have is the ability to actually interoperate completely and seamlessly across it with products that don't require the huge amount of engineering time and bandwidth and those types of things. Those will be, if it's ever going to be adopted in mass, it has to be much more like telephone. We all talk about it, we all see that we want to be able to communicate, but we want to be able to communicate in person, even if it is, through video, and that's the magic of video. And I think that over the next it's going to take, I think it's, to your pain, you're going to live with another 3, 4, 5 years as it continues to work out. But as more companies like ours come up and different companies get in the marketplace, you have all this innovative stuff that people want to use, clients will start to demand it. I think it'll be, they're already demanding it. I think the demand will be so strong over the next couple of years that companies just simply can't ignore it because they feel it's going to keep them from selling the products that they have today because they interoperate and you're not going to buy their stuff. So I think that's some of the biggest things that we're going to see, and to be able to use all the great innovations that already happen.
And I agree with everything that has been said, but I'll answer your question, I think, David, directly, because I'm an engineer, so I want to answer the technical question, because I think it's relevant for the future. There are 2 areas that I'll highlight. I think one is our expectations as humans of what we get out of technology that we're talking about, video conferencing, telepresence, is what science fiction in the past has expressed to us, right? And your question will always exist because we want more. The problem of feeling that I'm talking to you, there's nonverbal cues, and I can really connect to you as a human being is not solved by current technology, and it will continue to evolve. So I think the feeling of being there definitely does a good job with these products, giving you more of that feel, and there'll be a lot of evolution in that space. I think the second, more immediate thing that we haven't talked about yet is collaboration. I think in our users today in the enterprise, whether they're finance professionals, engineers doing design, they expect to be able to share materials in addition to seeing each other. And we haven't talked yet, but I think the industry is unfortunately moving away from interoperability on those collaborative tools as it relates to the video experience. So I think that's an area in the next 3 to 5 years, sessions like this one, they're going to become more prominent. Engineers I know are working on things, be it web technologies or video-related technologies to solve that. So I hope as an end-user community, those who are end users continue to push the manufacturers because progress needs to be made there too.
And I can't wait until Scotty can beam me someplace I don't have to fly.
People will not be satisfied until that's there.
One of the applications I think is really going to change our industry tremendously is the business-to-consumer market, where companies are going to be able to communicate with their customers from call centers, basically. And what we're working with now are enabling call centers to be video capable and doing that with eye contact, because when we've talked about the human experience, being able to actually look at someone and trust that they care about you, if you have the eye contact, that becomes very important. So we're installing these devices in call centers to be able to connect with customers, and we've partnered with Alcatel-Lucent now to develop these in retail applications. It's really turning into be a business model that I think is going to be adopted and be a big part of what will be the new way of telepresence, moving away from conferencing into actually delivery of services to customers.
Okay, let's go. We have another question here. Again, your name and where you're from?
I'm Kevin. I'm from Toronto. I'm part of a small. I should preface by saying I'm a small firm. We're starting out, and this is kind of to the integrators in the room. And one of the things I need to do is figure out, with my limited resources, where do I focus the attention? And I guess what I'm seeing in this market